Hello, welcome to the Mission Driven Business Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Thompson, an attorney, certified financial planner, and founder of a financial planning firm that serves LGBTQ entrepreneurs. I created this podcast to help mission-driven entrepreneurs build businesses that are both profitable and meaningful. On the show, you'll hear conversations from diverse entrepreneurs and experts who support small businesses in many, many ways. We'll talk about marketing, money, strategy, mindset, and what it really takes to build a business that aligns with your values and supports the life that you want. So whether you're just getting started or growing an established business, you're in the right place. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mission Driven Business Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Thompson, and today I'm excited to have Safir Hopton on the show. Safir is an entrepreneur, radio host, healer, author, and longtime advocate of consumer and cooperative economics. He spent decades helping communities explore alternative business models built around cooperation, shared ownership, and community prosperity instead of profit maximization. In this conversation, we dive deep into what the world of co-ops, what they are, how they work, and why they matter, and how they can create a more equitable and sustainable community. We talk about everything from housing co-ops and credit unions to employee-owned businesses and community wealth building. Safir also shares insights from his book, Creating a Co-op Village, and challenges us to rethink the way we define success, ownership, and impact in business. Whether you're a mission-driven entrepreneur, a community builder, or just curious about alternative ways to structure your business, this episode will definitely get you thinking. And with that, here's my interview with Safir. Hey, Safir, welcome to the Mission Driven Business Podcast.
Hey, brother Brian, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good today. It's Friday for us, so we get to go into the weekend on a good note, getting to talk with you. So I'm excited to hear all of your wisdom that you've had to share. You said you've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, I've been doing radio for a long time, since 1987. Don't tell nobody.
You just told everyone, so
Too late now.
too late. Yep.
But yeah, I started off a show called The Stress Test. I taught stress management on the radio. I've been an entrepreneur all my life.
Great. Well, and since you've been an entrepreneur all of your life, I'm excited for you to share your wisdom with our group. But we always start in the same place. How would you describe a mission-driven business?
Well, for me, a mission-driven business has to be a business that cooperates and serves the community and each other. For me, if you just about profit and not about the people, I can't work with you.
Mm.
You got to
Yeah.
be about the people first. If you're about the people and you're doing what you should be doing the right way, the money will come and the abundance will come. That's not going to be a challenge. But if you've got just a business to make money, you might make a lot of money, but will you be happy? You how happy will you be with all that money? You got a lot of people who made a lot of money, but they have to sit down with the psychiatrist on a regular basis to life coach or whatever to work
Yeah.
out the most important things, which is mind, body, spirit. So you got to have that balance. We call it homeostasis. Of
Homeostasis. Yeah.
mind, body, spirit balance. So that's very important. So for me, any type of business that I'm involved with, I've got to put the cooperative aspects into it. I got involved with co-ops and long time ago. I was 24 years young, and there was a development in Pasadena, California called Co-op Village. And there was a 255 co-op townhouses with a 5-acre shopping center across the street and a recreation center. It was a planned community type of thing. Beautiful, beautiful thing. And so, from there, I started working with co-ops all across the country in Oakland, Berkeley, Palo Alto, California, and then Greenbelt, Maryland, Greenbelt co-ops. Helped start the Cooperative Bank in Washington, D.C., conducted public hearings in 13 cities across the country to set policies and procedures for the bank, because the challenge was that co-ops had a hard time getting financing from traditional banks because traditional banks don't understand the idea that everybody owns the co-op equally. You know, they wanna go after that one person, who's in charge, uh,
Right.
and take his firstborn, secondborn, and thirdborn, so with a co-op, everybody owns it equally, so that's a little bit tough for the traditional minded bankers. So through an act of Congress, the National Cooperative Bank was set up to assist people that wanted to start cooperatively owned business or um, employee-owned co-ops, consumer co-ops, farm co-ops, housing co-ops. Any business can be a co-op. Any kind of business
Yeah.
can be transformed or created as a co-op. One member, one vote, democratically controlled, and this is the most important thing to me, neutral in race, religion, politics, and here's the new one, gender.
Hmm. Nice. Yeah.
So, uh, it's the perfect situation for anybody that doesn't want to feel judged. We can't do that. That's not in our bylaws. We just want to know: are you a member of the co-op?
Right. Are you in for the group?
Yeah,
You
are
in?
you aligned with what we're doing? That's all we
Yeah.
want to know. We don't care who you sleep with or what your religion is or your politics. That's irrelevant.
I'm super interested in this co-op concept because we talked about it before we sort of hopped on about like a lot of mission driven business owners are interested in making sure that they help the community. And, there's are certain structures, there's LLCs, S Corps, C Corps. Um, but this co-op concept sounds different from that. So we'll definitely dive into that. But I'm curious to hear before we do that, I'm curious to hear your why. Why co-ops? What motivated you in particular to go down the co-op
Well, if you
road?
look at the state of the world when I was 24 and the state of the world now, I'm not going to say how old I am now, but let's say uh, 30 years ago, things weren't much different. We
Yeah.
still had the same challenges economically because we based on a usury system, charging compound interest on money. We are more interested in profit than we are in the people. And so for me, it just made sense if we want to um, get in balance in terms of uh, the universal balance of life, we're going to have to put people before profit,
Yeah.
you know.
Put people before profit, but profit is also important, right?
Yeah, putting people before profit though, because,
Yeah.
you know, if you put people before profit and you're really working and cooperating together, you will be successful. I've been in a lot of organizations that are, uh, profitable, but the people are very unhappy. The employees are unhappy.
Yeah.
Customers are unhappy. There's no real uh, spiritual basis or conscious basis for the business other than making money. And that's pretty empty. That can be pretty empty feeling. I can't work for a company that doesn't have a real people-driven mission. I mean, great, a lot of the big companies, Amazon, Sam's Club, all these big retailers, they have great products and halfway decent service, but at the end of the year, are they going to share any of that money with you?
Hmm. Yeah. They
No.
are not. Unless you're a shareholder, right? Unless
Right, unless
you
you're a
own Amazon
stockholder,
stock,
right, you're a stockholder, that
right?
then they'll send you a little something, and then the other question you have to ask yourself is, how much of the money that they make do they give back to the community that they buy it from?
Right.
So
Right.
that's my focus is let's buy local and think global. Yeah. So to me, with the co-op, at the end of the year, by law, according to the bylaws of a not-for-profit co-op, all of the net revenues at the end of the year must be paid back in the form of what we call a patronage refund back to the members of the co-op in equal proportion to their patronage. So I haven't found a system more equal than that.
Right.
Going to give you a mirror reflection back of what you spent. That's fair. If you contribute to 10% of the revenue for the co-op, then you're entitled to 10% of the net revenue that's available at the end of the year.
And you said this is set up as a nonprofit. So is it set up as a 501c3?
No, a co-op is not a 501(c)(3). It has a different designation.
Okay.
A co-op is a
Tell me about that.
not-for-profit co-op, one member, one vote, democratically controlled, neutral in race, religion, and politics, as I said before. And we're incorporated in Washington, D.C. So we can partner with nonprofits, but the difference is, in a nonprofit, you still have hierarchy and all that kind of stuff, and you don't
Hmm.
really is not equal ownership in terms of nonprofits either. But with a co-op, it's equal ownership. And what they do is they'll hire a general manager to run, usually a general manager to run the co-op on behalf of the membership, or in our case, we have a management company that we hired to run the co-op on behalf of the
Okay.
members. And then you have a board of directors, and the general manager reports to the board of directors, or the management company reports to the board of directors, and guides policy that way. You know,
So there is some sort of structure to it, especially if there's somebody like running it and managing it, and there's a board of directors. I guess I'm still interested in how you actually set this up. Do you have to go? What forms do you have to file? I'm interested in the nuts and bolts of how you actually do this because I don't quite understand the tax structure and how that works.
sure.
So tell me a little bit
We
about
we
that.
we would we would need a longer amount of time
Okay, give me the short
than
version
that.
if you
I
can.
would just say that there's organizations out there that can help anybody set up a co-op.
Okay,
The number one organization for that would be the National Cooperative Business Association, NCBA,
okay,
a team of people that will help you set up a co-op, no matter what kind of co-op it is. And then there's also for funding, you can go to the National Cooperative Bank. You can get donations. Members can donate to the co-op, you know, make a loan or a donation to the co-op, depending on what the co-op management wants to do. So you have the same flexibility than you have with any other company that has a board of directors and a management team. Basically, it's not that much different except the ownership structure. Co-ops can work in any kind of political structure under co-ops under socialism. There's co-ops under communism. There's co-ops under capitalism.
hmm
And they can coexist. They kind of like create their own little economy within the existing economy because it's a bunch of people working together to cooperate. I guess the best example of a co-op would be a credit union.
hmm. Okay, that makes sense.
People don't know that credit unions are co-ops,
Yeah.
and co-ops are credit unions. And so
Okay.
people are members of credit unions and don't even realize or understand the structure as a co-op. They like it because they get better service. They get lower interest rates usually with the credit union. Banks are a little nervous about credit unions because they try to stop credit unions from crossing state lines because they know that they provide better service than most traditional banks do. So that's why
hmm
a lot of people, join credit unions. So that's the first thing. If you want to familiarize yourself with co-op, join a credit union.
Nice. Yeah. I know a lot of people and have recommended a lot of credit unions to people just because of that.
Yeah.
The community first aspect of that. Um, you mentioned at the beginning that any business can be a co-op.
Yes.
So tell me, like I work with a lot of consultants. Why would a consultant want to be a co-op?
Well, the question to me would be why not?
Hmm.
It it depends on your mentality.
Okay.
You want to support the competition conflict paradigm, which has done nothing but lead to war and conflict in the world, or you can operate with the cooperation and service paradigm, which leads to peace and prosperity. So co-ops operate with the cooperation and service paradigm that leads to peace and prosperity. Uh, the for-profit motive is again competition and conflict. which
Hmm.
inevitably leads to war, lack of resources, people fighting over resources, people fighting over money. That's just not the way I want to live my life. So I think it's all about what you want for yourself. If you just want to be bling bling all your whole life, and live that kind of world, that's fine. That's the choice
Hmm.
that you have to make, but you have to live with it. I
Yeah.
just can't live that way myself personally. I need to be a part of something that's giving back to the community.
And so it sounds like it starts with mission, vision, and values, making sure that you're clear on what your mission, your vision, and the types of values that you're going to live by
Yeah.
and operate your business by.
And it's all about intent. What's your intent?
Hmm.
Starts
Right.
with intention. You know,
Hmm.
who do you want to be when you grow up?
Right.
you know, what type of business do you want to, what kind of example do you want to set in the community? You
Yeah.
know, who are you? What do you want your legacy to be?
Hmm.
These are the important questions as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. I'm curious to hear more. Like, what questions should a small business owner, especially a mission driven business owner, what questions should they be asking themselves to help with this decision on should I be a co-op, should I be an S corp, should I be a C corp? Um, I love that question around, who do you want to be? What legacy do you want to live? Anything else we should be thinking about?
Yeah, well, for me, my other hat that I wear is I'm a healer and a shaman. So for me, co-ops are based on natural and spiritual law. It's just common sense. You know,
Hmm.
to cooperate and serve each other to me is just common sense.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of times in this country, uh, there has to be a disaster for neighbors to talk to each other. There has to be some, some kind of, in other parts of the world, it doesn't work that way, Brian. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Only in America. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? But, people in other parts of the world, they just naturally cooperate.
Hmm.
Co-ops are thriving much, much bigger in other parts of the world, in Asia and Africa and even Europe. Co-ops thrive much, much better and bigger in other parts of the world than they do in the United States because we seem to have a challenge because of this competition conflict mentality over here and dog eat dog to
Hmm.
work together, whether that be in the various ethnic communities to be able to work together and pool our resources or, whatever. We just seem to have a challenge in that regard because it's all about me,
Hmm.
you know. And in the final analysis, you know, when you're in trouble, you're looking for help. So why wait until you get in trouble? How about get some help? How about get some help up front and work
Right.
with
Already building that network, right? Have a network already established.
you serve a specific demographic, right?
Hmm.
So you have like-minded people that you work with that work with you. It'd be easy for you guys to form a co-op, a financial
Yeah.
co-op.
What would be the benefit of us? And I understand it's like cooperation, right? We're not competing, we're cooperating. But what is the other benefit? Is it just alignment? Is it more resources? Is it more? Maybe it's what you're saying about community. I'm still trying to figure out like why someone chooses a co-op.
The model that we had for Co-op Village in Pasadena was that the people who bought the co-op townhouses, okay, each person owned an equal percentage or equal part of that total development. It was
Hmm.
a 22-acre development at the time. So each person that bought the townhouses owned the townhouses, also owned the shopping center across the street. Okay, and then they leased out the shopping center across the street to a separate corporation. So they collected rental fees from those businesses like Wells Fargo Bank, a co-op supermarket. So now the money that's being paid on the leases of that commercial property, all that money is going back to the co-op housing owners, the people who own the housing across the street, to lower the housing costs.
Hmm.
to reduce the housing cost. So it's not going into a slush fund or someplace or some other company outside of the co-op to get them rich. The money stays within the co-op itself.
And they wouldn't have been able to do that without being in a co-op, right? They wouldn't have been able to buy this.
So they
Got it.
own
So
the
it's like a
housing,
pooling
they
of
own the
resources.
shopping center across the street, they own the recreation center, they own the whole development.
Mm.
Okay, and that's the beauty of it.
Hmm.
So now you live in the housing, you go across the street, you use the bank, you go across the street and you go shopping and buy your food, you know. So the money is in circulation, constantly in circulation back to the co-op members and the co-op community. So it's
Hmm.
to everyone's advantage to join the co-op.
Because you can pool resources and then grow the resources.
Well, Brian, you know everything in the world is bought and sold, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
for sure.
why not sell to ourselves and buy from ourselves? Okay, you have a product, I have a product. You have a service, I have a service. We buy and sell from each other under the co-op umbrella. It's real simple. So the money never leaves the co-op. It doesn't go to Saphir's slush fund to go to Jamaica or the Bahamas. You know,
Yeah.
all the money has to stay within the co-op, and then the co-op members decide, okay, well, how should we invest this money? Should we invest it back into the co-op? Should we set up a community fund to help nonprofit organizations that are doing a good job in the community to help people? Should we help this youth organization? So now we're making collective decisions for the benefit of the community and not
Mm.
just for the benefit of ourselves. You know,
Right. But you can still benefit individually because you're benefiting the community that you're participating in and living in.
right? I mean, you're paying less money for your housing, your co-op housing, because you own the shopping center across the street. So the
Mm.
money you're getting from the shopping center is lowering your rental costs. So you're already benefiting from that. Then you're buying your groceries from the co-op supermarket across the street. Okay, so all the members
Yeah.
are owning it collectively, so it's benefiting everybody and the community at
Yeah.
large because the community has a good shopping center to go to, good
Right.
food in it, healthy food, hopefully, things of
Yeah.
this nature to help uplift the community and not extract from the community, not take money from the community and not give any of that money back. See, a percentage of all the money that comes through the co-op could be set aside for community economic development, could be set aside for, like I said, for other nonprofits that are doing, good work in the community and things like this. So it's built in. It's just a built-in prosperity machine that keeps perpetuating itself. The more people join, the bigger it gets. The better everybody is.
My husband lived in a co-op, and
Oh,
I
really?
used to tell him it's like a Ponzi scheme because you only got your money back until somebody else invested, right? You had to sell your share of the co-op. He was moving into my place now, but he had to get another investor in order to get his money back.
To buy his portion of the co-op. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, and that makes sense to me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I mean I mean, yeah, I mean, you own a piece of the total co-op. You own
Right.
an equal share of the entire co-op as opposed to you have a condominium and it's your
Yeah.
condominium, and some other person's gonna come in and buy it. There's no benefit to the community at all. You know,
Mm.
it's just benefit to you.
Yeah.
That's it. But again, that's the paradigm we live in is, looking out for number one, but that's
Mm.
not going to get it, and especially within targeted communities, ethnically speaking, or other groups that are, minorities, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's to the advantage of minority groups, particularly, to utilize the benefits of co-op. But what's so interesting is that you'll find co-ops in Sierra Madre, California, like a daycare co-op. My granddaughter and grandson are in a daycare co-op in Sierra Madre.
Mm.
So affluent people are using co-ops also because they like the idea of, cooperative economics.
Right. Cooperative economics. I hear that. Cooperative economics, pooling resources, benefiting the community that you live in. I see that and
It's a
understand that.
win-win. It's a win-win situation, Brian. See, you're looking at it from the point of view of, you know, competition for
Hmm.
profit. you know, bottom line.
Yeah,
But there's more to life than that.
for
And
sure.
again, you can pay now, you can pay later. And I think what's happening is that the for-profit paradigm that we've been operating under, which is competition, conflict, extraction paradigm, has created the situation that we are dealing with right now in the Middle East.
Hmm.
You know, and it creates most of the conflicts that go on in the world. It's over
Right,
resources, land, resources, control.
right. That
Uh,
scarcity mindset.
yeah, exactly. So co-ops eliminates all that kind of, stuff.
Tell me how's this? Also have friends and advisors who are interested in creating a business that itself is a co-op, right? You can bring in employees, can then buy a portion or invest in
Or
the
you have
business
employee
itself.
co-ops. You have employment
Correct. So,
employee
can you
co-ops.
get a tell me? Can you tell me a little bit about those and how
There's an
those work?
organization, a co-op. I forgot the exact name in Washington D.C. Uh, Cooperative Self-Employment Organization. Yeah, United Federation of Worker Cooperatives.
Okay,
United Federation of Worker Cooperatives. In the back of my book, I have them listed uh, with their website address, the Cooperative Development
great.
Institute, Start.coop, National Cooperative Bank, and the National Cooperative Business Association. So there's organizations out there that can help you with that,
Okay.
and
So
that
there are many different iterations of this,
yeah,
is
well,
what
you
you're
have
saying. Is what I hear.
look, Lando Lakes is a co-op. True Value
Oh,
Hardware Store is a co-op.
I did not know that.
Kia
Okay.
is a co-op. Carpet One, the number one carpet retailer in the country, is a co-op.
Hmm.
Okay, yeah, these are all co-ops. They're not running around saying we're a co-op, but they are.
Yeah.
Frontier Herbs, the seasoning company.
Yep.
If you go
Yep.
into a health food store, you see Frontier. They're a co-op.
Why don't people express this or say more about it? Seems like that would be a great marketing tool. Like, we are
They
here for the community.
they walk softly and carry a small stick. I have to get on their case about that sometimes at the co-op association. I'm saying, like, we need to do more marketing. We need to let people
Right.
know. I mean, because it doesn't make sense that you're a member of a credit union and you don't even know that
Right.
a
That it's a
credit union
co-op.
is a co-op. And so you got energy co-ops, food co-ops, farm co-ops. The Federation of Southern Co-ops is a predominantly membership is African American farmers in the South who are growing organic produce by default because they can't afford the pesticides.
Yeah.
So the Federation of Southern Co-ops is one of the oldest African American co-op uh, farm organizations in the country. You know, and that's how Sunkist got together. The small farmers decided they couldn't compete with the big farmers, so they formed the Sunkist Co-op.
Interesting.
All the small farmers came together, formed this one co-op, so they could compete and compete with the big guys.
Yeah.
You know,
Is there a point where the co-op gets too big that cooperation starts to lag or
not really, because they were at one time. Remember when they were talking about the Obamacare, and they were talking
Mhm.
about initially they were talking about making it into a co-op. That would have been the
Mm.
best way to do it because then everybody in America would have owned their own health care.
Mhm.
You'd have owned the Affordable Care Act would have been a co-op.
Hmm.
And then we all owned it equally, so everything would be transparent. We couldn't jack up prices on people without being accountable, because it's totally transparent. You're an owner of the co-op, so you're able to see the books and look at the numbers, and you can't cheat yourself. In other words, you'd be cheating yourself, you know.
Right.
So
Right.
why would you cheat yourself?
Yeah.
You can't do it. It's impossible to cheat yourself without being caught. You'll be
That's really
busted. You know
interesting.
what I'm saying? So that's the
Yeah.
beauty of it. I mean, and it's crazy because I could have done a lot of other things. I have a lot of other talents besides, being involved with co-ops. Who creates a business to give it away? That's what I did. I created a business to give it away. where I'm an equal member of the co-op with everybody else.
Mm,
The only distinction I have is that I'm a founder. I'm the
right.
founding member of the co-op, but I have the same voting rights as everybody else. I don't have any more power in the co-op. I mean, I have power because people may listen to me because I might know a little something, but other than that, I'm equal with everybody else in the co-op.
Right.
And so who does that? So I had to work on my alter ego, I call it, for over a year to create a company to give it away, to be equal with everybody else in the company. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Because you felt like you still benefited and everyone else benefited as well.
yeah, it's a win-win for everybody.
Win-win. Yeah.
And I used to be a member of the General Strength Co-op in Tempe, Arizona, which is right next to ASU. And beautiful little co-op, health food. It was a community place where people could come and play music and get
Mm,
together and get to know each other and so on and so forth. And then, of course, here comes, I won't name the name, but here comes a big health food store, you know, and they set up right down the street
yeah.
with the intent of putting the co-op out of business.
Hmm.
It was obviously
And did they?
yes, they did.
Mm,
Because here again, you have to ask yourself, are you going to just go for the short-term benefit or the long-term benefit? Yeah, you can get some short-term benefits. You might save a couple of bucks buying from this big retailer, but in the long run, what has that big retailer done for the community and your friends and family? You know,
yeah.
what have they done? For
Hmm.
them, for the community. So that's again comes down to what impact you want to have in your
Mhm.
life. Do you
Right.
want to just be known as, you know, uh, a rich guy who made a lot of money, who didn't give anything back to the community? Or do you want to have a real impact on the community, that transcends your status?
Yeah.
And these are questions that each person has to ask themselves. And I cover that in the book for those of
Yeah.
us who,
Tell us about your book. Tell
yeah,
us, about the book and what it does.
well, basically, you know, educating people about the history of co-ops. The history of co-ops goes back to pre-colonial Africa, you know, uh, tribal society, villages. That's why I call it co-op village, creating a co-op village. It starts at the village and then it works its way up to the city, to the neighborhood, to the city, to the state, to the country. So it
Mhm.
starts at the ground floor level. It's trickle up, it's not trickle down. you know, I mean,
Yeah.
if people could show me that trickle down worked, then I'd be the first one to sign up.
Yeah.
you know,
But people keep talking about it and still we're in the same
it
same
has
dilemma every
it hasn't
time.
trickled down yet. I'm
Yeah.
still waiting on my 40 acres and my mule. So now I'm gonna bump it up to an SUV. You know, I
Yeah.
I need an SUV in a co-op townhouse now. So I'm
Hmm.
just saying that trickle down just doesn't work. So we've got to come together, just like the major corporations are coming together, and you see all these joint ventures and mergers going on. Pretty soon, Brian, there will only be
Right.
10 corporations for us to do business with.
Right.
We'll be buying everything from these 10 corporations, and that'll be the end of it.
Hmm.
We'll be locked in, so whatever they offer us, we'll be stuck with it, okay?
Right.
As opposed to starting at the ground floor with a co-op and working and building it up, from the
Mhm.
ground floor instead of waiting for someone to trickle something down to you that's never gonna come,
Yeah.
that will never be there. That you can't count on it. So that's why credit unions were created and all these other co-op farm organizations like Sunkist and Federation of Southern Co-ops, so
Yeah.
that the average person would have an opportunity to create some prosperity in their world.
Yeah.
You
Create
know,
prosperity, also impact the community, make sure that you have the
yeah,
impact, leave a good legacy.
yeah. So my book, Creating a Co-op Village, really shows you the history of co-ops, evolves all the way up, compares socialism with co-ops, compares communism with co-op, compares capitalism with co-ops. It shows you what the differences are and how
Yeah.
co-ops can work within any political system. A lot of people think that co-ops are socialism, but they're not. Co-ops can work within a socialism wants to control everything, and then
Hmm.
they decide what the prices are, the whole state, the whole country, or whatever the case might be. Co-ops is just a small little group within the nation state that organize to benefit themselves. So if you want to sell um, phones, then all the people that are interested in selling phones get together and then form a phone co-op, to sell
Hmm.
phones to people, you know, or if whatever it is that you want to do, you can form a co-op to do that with the people who are of like mind, you know.
Yeah.
So you have people who are healers, like all the healers could get together and form their own co-op. A yoga studio could be a co-op. All these
Hmm.
different things can be, supermarkets, grocery stores, whatever you want to do with any kind of business that you want to start. Like I say, daycare. It
Yeah.
doesn't really matter. Financial services could be a co-op.
So it starts with intention, right? Figuring out what you want your intention to do, asking yourself the questions around legacy and impact, mission, vision, and values that we talk about all the time. And then finding like-minded people to say, how about we do this together? How about we grow this business, make this business together so we can all benefit? We can all pool our resources, our knowledge, our experience to make the world a better place and our community a better place. And then we have bylaws and structure and we have managers, like, so we can set this up to where
Yeah,
there's no infighting.
right. Right,
Uh,
exactly, and then there's money available through the Community Redevelopment or Reinvestment Act through the banks, so, you can also tap into those kinds of resources that are out
yeah.
there for community reinvestment. Co-ops are perfect for community reinvestment. We partnered with a CDFI. You're probably
Hmm.
familiar with a CDFI.
For sure.
My partner, Frank Crump, we partnered with his company, which is called, UPI Loan Fund, and we make loans, micro loans to co-op members. We can make business loans to co-op members. So it's one thing getting a loan, but there's another thing in terms of paying that loan back. You
Right.
know, so we created a cash rewards, patience rewards program that's going to be on a digital wallet in your phone. It's an app like Samsung Pay or Apple Pay, and it's just tap and pay. So you go to participating merchants in the community that are members of who joined as merchant members of the co-op. This is under our co-op that we created called Global Village. So you just become a member of Global Village. You get the download the app, and then you go to participating merchants and use and make a purchase at those merchants, either online or brick and mortar. And then each merchant agrees to pay back a percentage of the
Hmm.
purchase price, cash reward back to the co-op. And then out of that cash reward that the co-op Global Village receives, we're going to give about anywhere from 70 to 80% of that cash reward is going to go to the co-op member who made the purchase. We take the rest for operational costs and all that kind of stuff. So with
Hmm.
this app, we don't need a bank. You don't need a plastic card. You don't need any of that. That's the beauty of it. It's just tap
Yeah.
and pay, and then a percentage of that will go to a community fund that we can help other community organizations, worthy causes, and things like this. It
Right.
can be done. Patronage rewards can work with anything. You're actually talking to the guy who created what is now referred to as cash rewards.
Hmm.
I actually partnered with the Co-op Bank in D.C. Years ago in 2000 and MasterCard to create the world's first affinity co-branded debit card that could pay cash rewards.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm the guy. And so I made banking history at that time.
Hmm.
And then my mother told me, she said, "They stole your idea." I said, "Yes, that's what they do."
Yeah.
If I if I had been able to get a patent on it at the time, which I wasn't able to, uh, I probably wouldn't be talking to you right now.
Right. You'd be off on your own private island
I'd
somewhere.
probably be on the beach somewhere, drinking a pina colada or something. I don't know, but anyway, that's what happened. So the industry just jumped all over it.
Yeah.
But co-ops were the ones who actually invented the idea of cash rewards, but
Right. Giving something back.
they didn't call it cash rewards. We call it in the co-op industry, it's called patronage refunds.
Mm.
So patronage refund can happen when you buy something from a business and they agree to pay back a percentage of the purchase price back to the co-op. That's one way of doing it,
Yeah.
in the patronage refunds. And then at the end of the
Interesting.
year, whatever revenues are left at the end of the year by law, according to the bylaws of the co-op, must be paid back to the members in equal proportion to their patronage.
Right.
It's the fairest system that I've been able to find. I haven't found anything
Yeah.
that's more fair than that.
It sounds fair. It sounds prosperous. Sounds like it's beneficial, a win-win for everyone. I'm curious if you think there are any drawbacks to a co-op.
But yeah, the drawback is that overcoming this bling bling world, you know, that's
Hmm.
the drawback. That's the biggest challenge is that, you know, people just are programmed into individualism,
Hmm.
individual only. That's how we're programmed. We're wired that way. We've been taught that way ever since elementary school, in kindergarten, competition, conflict. That's what we've been
Right.
taught. So we need to start teaching co-op economics in schools. If we begin to
Hmm.
teaching co-op economics in school, then the children will see an alternative, okay,
Yeah.
to the competition, conflict, extraction paradigm. That's the challenge. That's the
Yeah.
biggest challenge because if they were teaching co-op economics in school, then I wouldn't have to be on this podcast with you right now
Yeah.
talking about.
Well, and I think part of it too is like if there are successful co-ops, we should know about them. The fact that IKEA is a co-op, I'd never heard
Yeah,
that before.
yeah,
Right. And so
exactly.
I
And
feel like it's the education piece or the marketing piece that we also need to get over if this is going to be
well,
something that
yes,
sticks.
that's why I'm on the radio with you right now. But again,
Yeah.
if they had taught, if my book was in the schools, creating a co-op village was required reading in the schools, then I
Yeah.
wouldn't have as big of a challenge because people in other countries already know how to cooperate. Most
Right.
other countries,
Right.
they already know how to do that.
Right.
But because we've
Hmm.
extracted resources from other parts of the world, we've had a free ride
Yeah.
for the most part. We've had a free ride,
Interesting.
so we've been able to kick back and relax and have options called
Yeah.
capitalism, you know, and and for profit,
Super.
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's the challenge is education and
Yeah.
and getting this message across to people so they understand the benefits. Well, I think once people understand the benefits of cooperation and service and how it can create abundance and prosperity in their lives, it's not going to be a problem. But
Yeah.
it's that initial getting over that initial programming is
Yeah.
hard. Like Dick Gregory, the comedian, used to say. I interviewed him one time. He said the easiest thing to do the easiest thing in the world to do is educate people, but the most difficult thing to do in the world is to re-educate people.
Yeah.
To re-educate, that's tough. That's tough, especially when they're
Yeah.
adults. That's why we created a program for kids under 18. We have a program under Global Village Co-op, our co-op, where we teach entrepreneurship to kids under 18.
Hmm.
Where they create their
Trying to
own
educate them first without having to re-educate them.
Yeah, they create their own catalog of products. They buy and sell from each other instead of going to Nike and Adidas and all these other people
Yeah.
going to the Foot Locker and Sports Authority. Why don't they act as the retailer and sell the shoes and stuff to themselves
Hmm.
under a co-op? You
Yeah.
know, and then
Interesting.
that way the money stays within their co-op, and they can prosper and not keep giving that 30% commission that these retailers take. That 30% commission from the major shoe manufacturers or record companies or record labels or whoever could go to the co-op. They
Hmm.
could take that 30% instead of giving it to some folks who don't even live in their neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a very interesting concept. I appreciate you coming on and educating me. It's all new, and to me, it's something that I've heard of, and people I know that my clients especially want to participate in the structure, but
get the
I just
book.
didn't know anything about it. So I appreciate get the
Get the
book.
book.
We will definitely link the book
Creating a
in the
co-op
show
village.
notes so people can read the book and learn more about
Yeah.
co-ops. The last question I always ask is sort of, now that we've been talking for almost 45 minutes, what is going to be your takeaway from our conversation, or the thing that you're going to be thinking about after we end?
Well, I'm excited that we had a chance to talk because I'm, um, finding ways to reach different communities and different demographics and psychographics and all that. So I'm excited that you have an interest and that the possibility that you might share this knowledge and information with your clients.
For sure.
And that I'm available as a consultant to people who want to start a co-op or want to be a part of our Global Village Co-op. You
Yeah.
can become a merchant member of the Global Village Co-op. Right now, we're looking to raise money. We're looking for founders to become founding members of the co-op and to help us move it forward, so we can begin to show people how this works and how they can create prosperity and abundance in their lives through cooperative economics.
Yeah. Love it. Well, I appreciate you coming on, Saphir. Yeah, it's been a very interesting, enlightening conversation. So I appreciate you coming on. And again,
Yeah,
we'll link to all your book and your website so people can learn more about how this win-win situation can work for them.
cool. It's available on Amazon under Creating a Co-op Village in paperback, hardcover, and ebook. And I'm getting ready to do an audio book too,
Nice.
since I have such a great voice.
Been in radio for a long time. I get it. Thank you again for coming on. We'll talk to you
Keep
soon.
up the good work, okay?
You too. Thank you for listening to the Mission Driven Business Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Thompson. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcast. And if you know another entrepreneur who could benefit from this conversation, please share it with them. Until next time, keep building a business that creates both profit and purpose.